What's up, everybody? Welcome to week 11 of Big Blue Avenue. I'm Tom Scavetta, joined alongside Sam Cardona, the girl who talks sports. Sam, we're 2-8. How are you feeling? I know it's a dumb question, but overall,
I mean, honestly, I went into Sunday with very, very low expectations, so I don't feel as hurt this week per se. But yeah, kind of rough to be 2-8 when kind of predicted a 10-win season. So yeah, that's how we're entering like the halfway point of the season right now.
and it's only halfway. That's what makes things a lot more depressing. But, folks, we do have a lot to talk about. Even though it's not a good season for the New York Football Giants, we appreciate all of you that are here watching. And our job is to entertain you and make you think positive about the New York Giants in some ways. Excited to talk about some topics about the team's future tonight. But first and foremost, if you follow us or would like to follow us and you're tuning in for the first time, there's where you can find us below on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter at Big Blue Avenue. We'll have our preview up of the Washington Commanders game, and we will talk about some hot topics tonight. We'll talk a little bit about Tommy DeVito, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Dable, Joe Shane, you name it, folks. Drop your comments if you have any questions for us. We'd be happy to answer them. So, Sam, 49-17 again. What's going through your mind as the score is unfolding and you're seeing Dak look like the best QB in the NFL, Dallas winning their 12th straight home game, getting outscored by a division rival 89-17 this season? What's going through your mind throughout the game as you're watching this on Sunday? I know it was going through mine, but I want to hear from you.
I would have to say, mostly how are we gonna fix this? Like trying to find the major issues that can be solved the quickest, I guess. What it is that we need to focus on, because unfortunately, we are looking very far into the future right now in terms of draft. Just because it's the situation that we're in. So just trying to think of pieces, trying to think about what is it that is about this team that it's not working, because we've changed so many different things and yet we're still getting the same outcome. Um, I'm kind of hoping time, another season in the books with things to fix will help that. But I guess we're gonna see. But yeah, I mean, what when the again, I wasn't very surprised with how this happened. We expected kind of a blowout like we saw in week one, but man, was the fact that it went over 40 points, I was just like, come on. Like, at least we put points on the board this time, though. I guess that's a silver lining, right?
Yep. We put points on the board. And the first quarter was competitive. I will say the Giants were hanging in there
Mhm.
tough. DeVito did his thing. Again, you can't expect too much out of a third string practice squad quarterback, but you could lip read his father when they did not convert on the 4th-and-3 play. Mr. DeVito literally says you can read his lips. What was that? That's your 4th-and-3 play, something
Yeah.
along those lines. And you could sense the way he's saying it just by his body reaction. Sam, your thoughts on Tommy DeVito's father? I think he's an interesting character who personally I would like to have around the team for a little bit. I think he gives some positive energy, and I think he's just awesome to watch. I mean, in fact, Sam, he was more entertaining than the product on the field.
I agree. I agree. I think because I think what Tommy DeVito's senior, I think it's Tommy DeVito senior, right?
I believe it. Yep. Hmm.
Mr. DeVito here, he's just like us. Like he is a Giants fan watching this team and genuinely going, what is going on? Like, why are we doing this? And I think to have somebody as bold of a personality as Mr. DeVito definitely is, coming out and saying that, it's like a little bit reaffirming. It's a little bit validating for us as fans. That's like, that's the father of our starting quarterback right now. And even he's not happy.
Yeah. And I agree with Brad here. When is our bye week? Week 13, Brad, we're almost there. We still have about maybe 2/3 of the team left from the beginning of the season. So could be worse. You can't get much worse than what we've been through this season. Hello, Tom and Sam. Hello, Vincent. Appreciate the comment, aka Joe. So, yeah, you know what? Tommy DeVito really wasn't that bad. When we temper our expectations, Sam, to I think what we expected out of this game, we really can't fault him for the results on the football field. Our good buddy Andy Hopper, who's a fan of the show from Champaign, Illinois, watched Tommy DeVito at Illinois for 5 years. DeVito is a 25-year-old rookie, guys. He redshirted at Illinois. He did his 4 years there. So 5 years total. Then he had the extra COVID year, and he spent that up in Syracuse. Who was DeVito's head coach in 2021? Brett Bielema, the former Giants outside linebackers coach. When Joe Judge was his first year as head coach, Brett didn't make it through the full season. He took the job at Illinois, and he coached DeVito well. He's a good game manager. I think he should remain the starter going forward, Sam. You can't really fault Tommy for the fact that there is a 400, and this is mind-boggling, folks. I do apologize for saying this, but we have to. Dallas outgained us by 468 yards.
It's just kind of funny at this point, like it's ridiculous how this team is compared to the Cowboys. But yeah, I agree. I mean, there's only so much. Hello, Deanna. There's only so much that you can expect from a rookie quarterback, to this team in general, which wasn't playing their best football before Tommy DeVito came in. If this was a 7-win team and then Tommy DeVito came in and just started losing, games, that's one thing. But he's working with what he got and he's trying his best. I mean, he had 2 touchdowns against the Cowboys defense, which is arguably one of the best defenses in the league. And I mean, he's doing what he can. And I am happy at least he's trying his best.
There's a lot working against him right now. However, I just Barkley wasn't himself on Sunday. Granted, you can't really fault him either because he's working with nothing too. Hyatt, no catches. Hodgins, no catches. Can you blame them though? I mean, the offensive line is the reason why they can't get the ball out. I mean, you're going up against Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, Osa Odigizua, Dante Fowler. I mean, there's so many edge rushers on that team. Durant Armstrong is another. They are incredible. I mean, Dallas had a bunch of sacks in this game. DeVito was sacked 5 times. He did have the 1 pick to Deron Bland.
Yeah.
We saw Darius Slayton vocally upset with Sterling Shepard, or not at Sterling Shepard, but he was talking animatedly about something with Sterling Shepard. And then I saw online the post-game interview with Slayton. I had never seen anything like this before with this guy. He's just fuming. He's just so, I hate to say this, but pissed off. Like, the team is starting to crumble a little bit, which leads me to ask, is there a coaching problem? Is there a coaching problem? That's what I'm starting to wonder. Dable commented and said, well, it's football. That happens. The season hasn't gone the way it is. Injuries working against the Giants. Lack of talent working against the Giants. Bad contracts still working against the Giants. And I'll credit Joe Shane for trading off Leonard Williams. That Leonard Williams, the player, was great, but Leonard Williams, the contract, not so great.
Mm-hmm.
So, Sam, just talk to me. Do you think there's a coaching problem on this team? Did you see any signs of that on Sunday, or do you think this is part of just the frustrating losing season we're going through?
I think it's a combination of both things here. I think that, I don't want to put all the blame on Dable because I don't think that's where it belongs. I think that it's kind of spread out here. Kafka's play calling is obviously has been a problem since week 1. We've been talking about that for a while, and I'm sure it's just like between players going down, between plays not being called correctly, between this team's morale just dropping by the week basically because of how poorly we've been playing. It's just like there's so many factors. So it's like I think it's an easy way out to point fingers at Brian Dable and Joe Shane and being like, you're the problem. You need to leave. And I just, I don't think that's the case. And we're gonna go more in depth into that in a bit. But I genuinely think that there's so many factors going on, and yes, frustration. Like, if I were Darius, I would be frustrated too. You've been on this team for a number of years now, and you have basically one playoff game win to show for it. Like, I would be frustrated.
Yeah, I mean, there's really not much more to say. I mean, Giants were without a lot of players on Sunday. I mean, a lot of veterans too, and it's unfortunate because more players went down. Andrew Thomas got a little banged up. He came back in the game. Cordell Flott had a pick, then he got hurt, and then he eventually came back and got benched for Darnay Holmes, who had a pick as well. But I think Deontay Banks has been one of the few bright spots, Sam, this season. Wouldn't you agree? I think he's done, for a first-round draft pick, I think he's exceeded expectations so far at the corner position because he has a tough job as a rookie. Yeah. He's going up against the number 1 receiver every single week. I mean, the best weapon on every team's offense. So the numbers really shouldn't look as good as they are. And they're above average, these numbers. They look pretty good.
No, I agree. And he's doing what he can, and he's working with what he's got. But compared to what any other player, maybe or a different rookie that would be in that slot, like it's very impressive. And to have another, like, I'm excited to see, like, in the next year or 2 years, like, seeing how he develops. I feel like he's going to be a lockdown corner. Like, he is only going to get better from here.
Sky is what matters. Hello, Barbara. Thank you for the thumbs up. Appreciate it. Yeah, next up, I want to talk about Dexter Lawrence before we have a couple stories for the evening. Vocally upset with the New York media, who commented, and we won't spend much time on this, but the media questioned and criticized Dexter Lawrence for not answering any questions post-game on Sunday after finding out he went out post-game with his family to celebrate his birthday. Thoughts on this? Did the media go too far here to make a story out of nothing? Or should Dexter have been available to answer questions, being that your team is 2-8 prior to going out with family?
I mean, it's your birthday. I really think that this is a little bit of an exaggeration. But the thing is, like, if he had something to say to the media, he would have made time to say it, or, goes about it Monday morning. I really don't think it's that big of a deal. And good for him for saying something. Good for him for kind of pushing back a little bit and just being like, it's not like he just like was being kind of like a baby and just being like, I don't want to talk, and just left. It wasn't that. The circumstances or the fact that it's your birthday. You just lost 49-17 on your birthday, and now you got to go out to dinner with your family. Like, I'd be like, I just need like time alone. I just want to hang out with my family, my friends, just enjoy the rest of my birthday while I can. I don't want to talk to the media who's going to ask me stupid questions, like I would probably do the same thing.
Especially after losing 49-17 on your birthday. That's not fun. I get it. It's part of the job to answer questions to the media, but he's always available to them. And I think he handled that. He got unnecessary, by the way, graciously. So I agree with you, Sam, on that for sure. Next up, we have our New York Giants player of the week. Unless, Sam, was there anything else on week 10, or could we kiss that one goodbye?
I'm ready to throw that one in the back seat and move forward.
All right. So, who did we pick this week, Sam? Talk to the folks.
I mean, we got to go with our new leader under center right now, Mr. Tommy DeVito, our Italian king. We made a little special graphic for him today. So obviously, I cannot even believe that he's the 10th rookie quarterback to start a game this season. That's just one thing in and of itself right now. It's his third appearance, despite the first NFL start. 14 and 20 for 427 for 86 yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception, and he was sacked 5 times, like Tom mentioned earlier. 7 rushes for 41 yards. The kid's, he's doing what he's got to do in terms of running when he needs. And these are 2 of my favorite bullet points here. He does live at home with his parents because they live 15 minutes away from the facility, and his mother makes his bed. She does his laundry, and especially the biggest thing is that she makes him chicken cutlets. A true North Jersey Italian boy.
Yes. What is your opinion on? I can't believe we're talking about this, but we're 2-8, so we might as well.
Yeah.
What is your opinion on his mother making his bed? Do we think that's exaggerated a little bit?
I mean, as a person who I was living with my parents in the beginning of this year, I am currently no longer living with my parents. So I understand staying at home, and that whole thing, saving money, like I totally get that, especially in this tri-state area that we live in. It's incredibly expensive to live. What kind of rubs me the wrong way, though, is the fact that his mother is kind of treating him like a child and making his bed and doing his laundry. And like, it's always good to help out your kid every once in a while, but like, you're also a 25-year-old starting quarterback in the NFL. I think maybe you can make your bed and, maybe help out, do what you got to do. That's just me. But overall, good for him for saving money and not having to exude the energy of making a bed and making chicken cutlets. I'm sure Mrs. DeVito makes excellent chicken cutlets. I would love nothing more than to try them, but yeah, I think it's a little odd, but that's just me.
I think the DeVito household is the best household to be at on Thanksgiving for sure.
Oh, for sure.
What's up, Eddie? With the comment, appreciate you, my guy. Eddie Atkinson, Colts fan from New Jersey. Love to see that. Yeah, I'm with you. DeVito's a king. He should start for the rest of the season. Just my opinion. I don't want to see Matt Barkley. We know what Matt Barkley is. Let's evaluate Tommy DeVito. I mean, he played decent enough, I think, to earn not just the start next week, but I think he's earned himself the starting job for at least the next few weeks until he proves to us, Sam, that he's not capable of going out there on a weekly basis and performing to the best of his ability. There should be no questions asked. You shouldn't have to sign anybody else. Don't give me this Matt Barkley, Jacob Eason stuff. DeVito should be the guy for the rest of the season, in my opinion.
At this point, like, just let the kid run with it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason to have a quarterback controversy with quarterbacks basically 3, 4, and 5. Like, it's very unnecessary. If Tyrod comes back, obviously I'm gonna be feeling Tyrod. But right now, that doesn't seem like it's in the picture right now. Give the kid a shot, like, see what he's got. And this is also his stage right now. Like, who knows? Maybe he like pops off and has an amazing game one week, and a team sees that, and they hop on that, or the Giants think, oh wow, he's actually a pretty good backup quarterback. Let's keep him around. It's the NFL. It's any given Sunday. It's why not just give the kid a shot? And if he does do well with the weapons and the offensive line that he is dealing with right now, I'd say that that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I'm with you. If Tyrod comes back, I'd prefer him because we could compete against good teams with him as a starting quarterback. Not saying DeVito cannot, but it'll be a discussion to be had if he's able to come back from the rib injury. Dable did not seem too optimistic that he'd be back this season. Hopefully he's wrong. I don't know. But speaking of Brian Dable, I mean, we know Joe Shane continues to attend weekly college games. The Giants are constantly scouting for the future. And again, some people watching might portray this as a silly question, but I feel like it needs to at least be asked. Mm-hmm. Are Brian Dable and Joe Shane safe this season?
The short answer is yes. The short answer is that, yes, they are not going to get fired because at the end of the day, yes, we have the tendency of having that trigger finger of basically firing a coach after 2 years. I think that this is a different case. I think that they have more promise, they have more ability than some of the other guys in the past that we have been having as our head coaches. So I just can't see them just, especially the fact that it's both a head coach and a GM, like it's not like it's just the head coach, like it was with Joe Judge and oh my God, his name is escaping me.
Pat Shurmur.
Pat Shurmur. I was like Patrick. It's kind of a different vibe because it's two of them. And we've said in the past too that they have this pattern of doing well after 2 years. And something that I think is just very interesting is the fact that the Bills just fired Ken Dorsey, who was Brian Dable's replacement in Buffalo. And it's very, very obvious how Josh Allen has declined these past 2 years since Dable left. So we know that Dable has the ability to make an offense better. It's just the matter of being a head coach as opposed to a coordinator, which we all know there are people who just do better as coordinators. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. But I feel like it's okay to give them another shot. I think it's okay to give them another draft, see what we can do next year. If next year we're in the same position at this point in time and we're 2-8, yeah, maybe it's time to start considering things. At that point, they probably won't even have a job at this point if we're going through the same things next year. But hopefully this offseason, this draft, they'll be able to make this team better next year, and we'll be able to kind of see that resurgence that we have seen in the past from these kinds of situations they've been in.
So I'm actually going to go a little further with this. I think Dable is safe through this offseason. He'll be the head coach next season. I think Joe Shane is safe for at least 2 more seasons. And here's why. Cap situation's phenomenal. I mean, the head coach typically goes before the GM, if that's the scenario, but they just got here. They won a playoff game last year. I mean, this in itself is ridiculous that people are saying that this needs to happen. This is the exact reason why the Giants have not been good in the past decade. If you don't get results in year 1 or year 2, fire. That's all New York media wants. And they're allowed to have a bad season, guys. Yes, we've been bad for a decade, but they weren't here for that. It's not fair to judge them off of one bad season, especially when a lot of your skilled players have been hurt from the get-go. You missed Andrew Thomas for 7 games. You missed Daniel Jones for the season. You missed several other players. Graham Gano. And now it's, Graham Gano makes that kick. They beat the Jets. If Daniel Jones is at quarterback, maybe they beat the Bills. Who knows? I think these are all fair questions to ask. What's up, Brian Attard? Thanks, Tom, for jumping on Sports Box Sunday morning. Still think they should tank. I know you disagree, but I think we agree it may happen naturally.
Yeah, probably.
Brian and I can go head-to-head on that all night long. I mean, he's right to a degree. But again, I just, if they're 2-15, they may want Dable gone, and we like Brian Dable. That's why I want them to win as many games as they can. I can just never root for my team to lose. Love you too, Brian. Let's go Rangers. Congrats on whipping our ass this past weekend.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt these two guys are safe. Now, next question to you, Sam, before we preview Washington. And I didn't pin this one, but quarterback. Is quarterback definitely the number one need on this team? Would you rank it highest, second highest, lower, mid-tier? Where would you rank it right now if we had to take a stab at it?
The thing is that I like Daniel Jones is going to start week 1 next year. No matter what we end up drafting, like that's just what's going to happen. He's going to come back from his injury. He's, whether or not we draft a quarterback, that's what's going to happen. And then if he does not do well, that's when the rookie will come in. In terms of ranking quarterback, I don't think I want to draft a quarterback that high. Because I think I'm holding on to Daniel Jones, but honestly, it's probably going to happen. So just because of the expectation, I'm going to rank it number 1, but like we really need offensive line help. We really need like some defensive help as well. I mean, they're doing what they got to do, but there's some holes there as well. I can't even say we need wide receiver help because we've tried to fill that hole, and it's just there's so many other factors that they're not even able to perform. So, like personally, in terms of like my heart, I would rank it like mid-tier, but in terms of like what's probably going to happen, it's probably going to be top tier need.
Yep. Yeah, I think unfortunately it's top tier. It's, if not 1, it's 2. I'm going to go with 2 only because you're right. I think Evan Neal needs to be replaced immediately. If we could draft a tackle tomorrow, I would. That's how bad I think he is as an NFL tackle. Evan Neal should not step foot on the field as a tackle next season. If he's going to start, please be at guard. Ben Bredesen is on an expiring contract. You could replace him with Neal, right, and draft the tackle. It's that simple. You could draft the quarterback in round 2. It doesn't need to be Drake May. It doesn't need to be Caleb Williams. It doesn't need to be Bo Nix, right? By the way, Bo Nix, awful interviewer. I'm sorry, Bo. It's all right. Andy and I have been bashing that man for years. Playing really well this year, by the way. Playing really, really well. Here's the catch-22 for me. If they get the top pick and trade down for a ton, think it will just actually add more pressure on Jones and Dable and Shane too, because they didn't take the quarterback in that event. Look, Brian, when we drafted Eli Manning, what happened? We traded up. We were picking 4th, and we traded to number 1. Did we give up a ton? Sure. Did it bring us a Super Bowl 4 years later? It did. There's also the opportunity to trade up, which is why I'm opposed to tanking. It doesn't matter where you're picking, in my opinion. However, this is an excellent point that I think needs to be emphasized. Dable and Shane are under a lot of pressure to take a quarterback. Beeve, I want to agree with you so bad. I really do.
I do. I think they will. I think that there's I think it's almost like a fear. Like it's almost like they're sitting there and they're like, well, we don't really need to do this right away. Like we could wait. We could do a lower tiered quarterback here in this draft. But they're going to get nervous and they're going to think, well, what if Daniel Jones just has a repeat of last year? What if he gets hurt again? We're going to have to put Tommy DeVito in again? Like, what are we working with here? So I think that there's going to be that fear of what's going to happen with Daniel Jones and that uncertainty. And that's why they're going to be picking a quarterback higher up.
John Suggs, Man, oh man, Tom is loving this. I mean, I'm not. I love Daniel Jones, and I agree. Look, Jones just needs to be healthy, right? The injuries are more of an issue throughout his career than the play. He's coming off a neck injury. People are complaining about 2-yard dump offs. His neck is affecting his throws. Then Dable shouldn't have him out there if he's not ready to go.
Yeah.
I think Barkley was not the correct contract to give. You're talking about Matt Barkley or Saquon? Because Saquon, we just tagged him.
Yeah.
And that's another question I think we'll have to save for the end of the season, off season. Sam, Barkley might be done here too. It's very, very possible. If they decide to draft a quarterback, why keep a running back and kind of put yourselves in a hole financially wise when you can draft one in like the 5th round? Like the Chiefs drafted Isaiah Pacheco, 6th, 7th round. Yeah, so we just gave Saquon the tag, John. Yeah. And Brian Attard with a good quote. If we don't take this quarterback here and he goes somewhere and is a star, we will never live it down. Joe Shane's internal voice.
It's what constantly people do now. It's like, oh, well, the Jets won that one game and didn't get Trevor Lawrence and got Zach Wilson instead. Like people are going to talk about that forever. And that's why I'm feeling like it's probably going to be they'll draft a quarterback, whoever it may be. Daniel Jones starts for 3 to 5 games, and then the rookie comes in. It's just the way the cycle works every time.
So, John, I do agree with your point. You give Daniel Jones 2 offensive linemen and another receiver. Great. Problem with that. Joe Shane and Brian Dable inherited Daniel Jones. They did invest in him, yes, but there is a 2-year out in the deal. They will have to eat a decent chunk of dead money. Bet next year the Giants get 9 wins. It's very possible, but here's my problem. Would somebody like a Drake May need 2 offensive linemen and a wide receiver? See, that's the thing. Like Joe Burrow didn't. He made the Super Bowl without that.
Yes.
He had a wide receiver. He didn't have an offensive line. Yeah, I'd rather have Daniel Jones than Sam Darnold too. That's not even a debate.
And Joe Burrow came off of an ACL injury and went to the Super Bowl. So
no, I can't stand this, man. Don't start with that. But in all honesty, Sam, I'm just going to say this right now. The Giants are drafting Drake May in the 1st round. And if it happens, we're going to clip this off because it's happening. I know how Mara is. Caleb's not a giant. He plays in the Pac-12. I mean, the Pac-12 defenses are not good. When he plays against elite defenses, SEC defense, we saw what happened there. Notre Dame, we saw what happened there. 3 interceptions. Drake May, however, plays in the ACC. And his statistically wise, he's developed really nicely, and he has a lot less talent than Caleb Williams had. He had Jordan Addison last year, Taj Washington, Brendan Rice this year. Not taking anything away from Caleb Williams. I think Drake May is more teachable right now, and I think him and Brian Dable would gel better together. I think Caleb wouldn't last in the New York market, unfortunately. That's my opinion. If you have a different one, fine. But I'm calling it now, Sam. Drake May, New York Giant, 2024 draft.
I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised.
I like Penix too.
Yeah, I agree. Him. I do like Michael Penix a lot. And if we had him, I'd be okay with that as well.
Oh, yeah.
There's just something about Caleb Williams that I'm just like, I get a bad feeling about him entering the NFL. Yeah. I'm getting kind of like Bryce Young vibes right now. Like excellent quarterback in college football. Bryce Young coming out of one of the best football programs in the United States. There's just something, and I was having an argument with Jordan about this, Sporty Jordy, because she was just sending me edits of Caleb Williams in the Giants jersey and everything like this, and I was sending her just sad faces, and she was like, Sam, this is a good thing, and I was like, I don't think it is. I'm I
It's not.
have a bad feeling about it. And this past year is also reflecting like he's not playing up to the standards that people thought he was going to play. And that's in college football right now. Like the NFL is a completely different beast. So I agree. Drake May, Michael Penix, these are guys who are a little bit more moldable. They're a little bit more, able to adapt to a team. Michigan quarterback, that's McCarthy, right?
McCarthy, yeah.
I
He's
mean,
good,
I just
but
don't think he's going in the first round though, right?
no, if he does, it'll be mid to late where we're not picking. I could
Yeah.
see the Vikings taking him to learn under Josh Dobbs if they move on from Kirk Cousins.
Man, I love Josh Dobbs. I could go on a tangent about him right now.
Oh, yeah, he's funny.
But
Bryce Young also surrounded by low-level XFL team, to be
yes,
fair.
no, you're 100% right, Brian. But also, we've seen these things in the past, first round draft picks just being busts, and it happens. It happens. Lamar playing in the ACC.
Trevor Lawrence played in the ACC.
That's
Trevor
right,
Lawrence
that's
played in
right,
the
listen.
ACC.
But
Noah
we
would
don't
love
want
Daniel Jones over Desmond. Sorry, Sam.
No, it's okay. We don't want Desmond Ridder. That's all I was saying.
No.
Thank you,
Sam
though.
Howell leading in yards right now. And one last point about this, and we're going to move on. This is a great discussion we're having, by the way, because we don't have too much else planned for tonight besides the preview. So we do love these comments. We'll appreciate the comments. Yeah, I'm not a Watson guy, John. I mean, sucks for him with the ACL or the injury, whatever he suffered. But
and we're not seeing him the rest of the year. It's fine.
No.
You don't need to talk about him.
Yeah. USC quarterbacks. Historically, USC quarterbacks don't make it. Sam Darnold, Mark Sanchez.
Yep.
Carson Palmer was the last good USC quarterback. Matt Leinert's another one. Matt Leinart.
Yes.
He was bad. Mark Sanchez was bad. Matt Barkley. John David Booty. That's right.
John David Booty? I don't even think I know who that is.
I believe that is a joke, but I don't know.
Matt Barkley. Matt Barkley went to USC.
Yep. This is a good point here. Oh, yes, he did go to USC. Duh.
I'm seeing John David Booty in here.
Yep. If Tommy DeVito can lead Illinois to 8 wins, he can do anything. Let Tommy cook. What's up, Andy Hopper? Go check out the Brew Party in addition to the Sports Box for Andy's content.
What's up, Andy?
Love it. Comments are blowing up. We love it, folks, but keep them coming. Let's get to our preview, Sam. We're playing the Washington Commanders. Nasty Nick Gates is back. Cringe. Yeah, he was very ruthless towards us in week 7, which feels like a long time ago. So, Commanders, Sam, are 9.5-point favorites. Not looking good for the Giants. We did beat them 14-7, but Tyrod was quarterback. Threw for over 250 yards. Giants defense had 6 sacks. Kayvon Thibodeau had a really good game. Just overall, scratching the surface, thoughts heading into this game, what you expect and whatnot.
Well, just to reiterate the fact that it felt like so long ago was the fact that I forgot that we've already played the Commanders. I'm sure you remember because you were at the game, but I literally was like, wait, did we play the Commanders yet? And I remember thinking, I'm like, wait, no, Tom was at the game. We had to have played the Commanders already. That's how it feels like. That's how time has felt so far in terms of New York Giants football. But the thing is, we did, that is one of our 2 wins, which is fun to think. But also, NFC East is normally a split divisional game type of situation. And obviously we are on the bit of a decline here. So I don't know how confident I feel going into this game, but also in a divisional game, anything is possible. Why not try and work out some kinks with the Washington Commanders? But yeah, I am feeling kind of iffy about everything. It just I could be going up against anybody right now. I would feel iffy. But yeah, this is Sam Howell is a pretty good quarterback, and he's very good at putting points on the board. So and that's obviously something that we're not good at. But we were able to stop it last time. So let's see.
Yeah, the Commanders have a bad offensive line. Sam Cosmi, Shadik Charles, Nick Gates at center has struggled. Yeah, they don't have a good O-line. Charles Leno is like 1,000,000 years old. Sorry, Andy, if you're still watching that. Former Chicago Bear. That's why I mentioned that. General Booty, who is a tight end for Oklahoma, is his
Is
nephew.
his first name General?
It is.
His name is General Booty, like his government name?
As far as I know, yeah, that's what the site says.
That's insane. I love
Meet General Booty, a third-generation football standout with
No way.
You're going to have to look him up. Next New York Giant, General Booty.
General Booty. I hope he gets drafted just so we have General Booty in the NFL.
Oh, correction. General Axel Booty.
That's what a name. What a name.
My condolences to whichever commentators have been assigned to this Norfest of a game. Better have a pillow ready in the booth. Thanks, Noah.
Thanks. Thanks, Noah.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, but thank you. I will say, though, I don't know if it'll be a snooze fest as far as Washington is concerned. I mean, despite losing to Seattle last week, Sam Howell had a really good game, as you were mentioning. 3 touchdown passes. His running back had 119 receiving yards and a score. However, the Giants have won 7 out of the last 10 matchups against the Commanders. They lead the all-time series big 107-71-5. Let's get into our keys to the game. Sam, by any chance, how do the Giants win this game? What do they have to do to shock the world and make Cedar Grove, New Jersey, the most popular town in the Northeast?
I think one of the major things, and it was when I was looking up Sam Howell stats. Yeah. So he's been very good with 1, putting points on the board in terms of touchdowns, and 2, not throwing interceptions. And I think that that's going to be a big thing for our defense is like get Sam Howell to turn over the ball, like get Sam Howell to throw the ball to our defense to like, kind of give us another chance to get points on the board because, yes, we kept him to 7 points last time we played, but there's a very strong chance this time around that they're going to be able to put a lot more points up than 7. I think we got really lucky with that game, figuring we only put up 14 because that's like our magic number is like 14, 17, 10. We really can't make it into the 20s. So that's going to be a big thing. And their run game really hasn't been much of a factor. Brian Robinson has really slowed down. He was this really great player to watch last year, and we're just not seeing that again this year. Just keep the run to a dull roar. Turn the ball over. Keep the offense on the field as much as possible. I know it'll tire Tommy DeVito out. It'll probably scare him a little bit, but like Andy's even saying it, let Tommy cook. Like, let's do it. Let's see what he can do when he's on the field a little bit more. I think you're muted, Tom.
Oh, thank you. I guess I'm 2-8 as well. Andy says, let Tommy cook. John disagrees. Barkley needs to run, not in the air. I think we should let Tommy
We tried that. We tried that last week, and that was something that I texted you during the game, that Tommy DeVito kept handing the ball off to Saquon, and it just wasn't working. And I don't know if that was just because of the Cowboys defense. I don't know if it was because of the offensive line, but like I was literally like, why do they keep running the ball? It's a very obviously not the case. So maybe it might be different up against a little bit more vulnerable of a Commanders defense now that they don't have Sweat and Young. But Saquon really has not done Saquon things this year like we were seeing last year.
Yeah, especially with 8 guys in the box too. Kafka has to go. He has to go. Or he needs to get his ass down to the sidelines rather than sitting up in that box every game.
Hey,
He's
it
not.
worked for the Steelers. Matt Canada went down to the sideline. Totally different offense.
Maybe Mike should take a page out of Canada's book. You know,
Why not?
It could be a big difference, John. You're right. Yeah, it's very interesting to see Northwestern legend Mike Kafka, Big Ten West legend Andy. I hope you love your 10-7 games. Big Ten West is a different animal with football, and I think winning the turnover battle is key, Sam. I think the Giants' defense is capable of forcing Sam Howell turnovers. Last time I was at the game in Week 7, Deontay Banks had a nice interception in that one. Kayvon Thibodeau was all over Sam Howell. And I think the Giants are going to get sacks in this game. I think the defense is going to keep us in it. In fact, I think it's going to wind up being a one-score game again. I really do. I don't know if it'll go in the Giants' favor, but I think it's going to be a one-score game regardless. Now, keep in mind, folks, this game is in Washington for whatever that's worth. And obviously protecting Tommy DeVito is key.
Protect the man.
Andy appreciates art. John Suggs says, no way. Well, 4 weeks ago, it was a one-score game. Giants won by 7 with Tyrod Taylor. Just saying. Likely no Evan Neal this week. So, not that. I'll be honest, as much as this is terrible to say, Sam, the Giants play better when Evan Neal's not out there.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, he does. They do. And honestly, I would prefer if we figured out where to put the guy if he's going to stay on the roster, because obviously sitting at right tackle is just not working. And it sucks that we spent a 5th-round pick on this man. And we were so pumped. We were literally like, we won the draft that year. And oof.
Also, where is Aaron Robinson? Where is he? He hasn't played since last season. He's still on the PUP list. He's like MIA.
I don't know. That's a good
Another
question.
Another third round draft pick that's unavailable. It just clicked into my head that he hasn't played a game this year, and I'm just really mad at these Gettleman
You
picks.
saying that, I haven't even thought about, I haven't even heard that name in like a year. So you saying that? Oh, John Suggs says torn ligament.
Oh, interesting. And he says he's going to buy me a 48-ounce steak if the Giants pull off this upset.
That's fun.
Yeah. Oh, there he is. Pup had 5 tackles in 2022. Woohoo. Also, I just pulled this up from last week, and a few weeks ago we posted a picture about the state of the New York Giants, and I'm going to upload this photo of the Dallas game that clearly explains this season and the direction that it's headed, because this is just god awful. So it's a picture of an offensive lineman being a Giants offensive lineman, folks. Marcus McKeithen is turned the wrong way, blocking Saquon Barkley and not allowing him to move. If McKeithen turns his ass around and notices the 2 defenders there, Barkley might score on this play.
Who is this behind him who's actually going towards these 2 defenders?
That looks like Pugh. 67?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And the thing is on his arm. I see it.
And McKeithen is MIA.
It's like the Evan Neal video of him blocking his own. Was it Waller? I think it's Waller in that play where he literally blocks Waller from running.
Thanks, Noah. Yeah, it was bad. I didn't have time to reset my router tonight, so I do apologize if it's in and out, folks. LOL, typical Giants. So, Sam, who from Washington do you think could have an impact on this game Sunday? We saw last time the Giants kept McLaurin in check, and you mentioned some interesting stats about him as well.
Yes. So something that I noticed while I was just, this is just numbers and stats, but while they don't tell the whole story, they do tell part of the story. And I just think it's really interesting that Scary Terry, who is supposed to be incredibly scary, has not had a 100-yard game yet this season. And only has 2 touchdowns on the year. So I think that that's very interesting. He's gotten up to the 80s and the 90s. He's been close, but you would think that like your star wide receiver on your team would have a 100 yards game at least one time this season. But we're entering week 11 and he doesn't. And I actually think Jahan Dodson is more of a threat than Terry McLaurin is. He only has one more touchdown than him this season, but I don't know. I just feel like he's more of a threat than Scary Terry is, which is interesting, but also a good note to point out to the Giants defense. It's like, it's not this guy we should be focusing on. It's this other guy. So he's one of my players to watch. Sam Howell is definitely one of my other ones. He is just a sneaky, sneaky boy. Every time he walks out onto that field, I am impressed. I think every time we see the Commanders score, like my dad and I sit there and we're just like, Washington is like playing a game. They're constantly surprising everyone every single week. And Sam Howell is a huge part of that. He's just rocking and rolling. In the last 3 weeks, he's had over 300-yard games. And he's just doing what he needs to do and puts up 3 touchdowns last week. Like I said, he can put points on the board, which is one of the big reasons why he's somebody that we need to keep an eye on and a key to our game in terms of turnovers, because he's the one who's putting points on the board. And if they don't put points on the board, maybe we have a chance.
You're right. I also like Sam Howell. I do. I think he's a very underrated and underappreciated quarterback in this league. His stats are not too far off from some of the league's best. Some of the league's self-proclaimed MVP candidates. I'm not saying Sam Howell's an MVP candidate, but remember, statistics do not tell the whole story. So if you're comparing statistics, Sam Howell is up there with the best in the league this season as far as statistics go.
Right.
We're not saying value and how we're not saying he's a top 10 quarterback. Sam Howell is a new boy, but plays like an old boy. He does.
I don't know what that means, but
yeah, that's an inside joke. I know I'm your enemy, but it's funny. I honestly do pull for y'all when you play those Cowgirls. I pull for you too, John, when you play the Cowboys, and the Eagles.
is John a Commanders fan?
I believe so. No, don't quote me on that.
I was unaware.
I did not know that for sure either, but when he commented on that, it kind of clicked in my head, saying Kate Curl is going to be a game changer.
That he was one of when we talked to Marty last time when we were previewing last Washington's game, Curl was a huge, huge piece of the puzzle, according to Marty, and I'd like to think that he was in that game.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And for me, I think one player to really watch is on the defensive side of the ball. I just really love the way that he has played this season with Cameron Curl. I love how he patrols the field. He's very good at tackling. If Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen can't get the job done up front, he's there to back them up. He's been a solid option. I really do. But remember, this Washington team lost a step too. They traded away Montez Sweat. They traded away Chase Young. They're not there anymore. So the Giants right now, these teams are not as far off in comparison as I think. Washington lost to us with Sweat, with Young.
That's
I'm
right.
not sure if Young played, but
I don't remember.
That's how the cookie crumbles. It's divisional games. They're always close, John. I wouldn't take it for certain that it's a double possession game. But Sam, I want to turn to you here. Your players to watch for the Giants and why.
All right, Giants wise, we're gonna shout out our man Tommy DeVito here, because I'm very interested to see him play. If that's how he was playing up against the Cowboys, the Commanders, I do think are a more manageable team. Not saying that we're gonna beat them, but like that, like they, I think, are a little bit more manageable, especially no Young, no Sweat. But I'm definitely gonna keep my eye on Tommy DeVito probably for the rest of the year as long as he's playing and seeing what he can do. So he's definitely gonna be one of my players to watch. I'd love to see him throw some more touchdowns. I mean, we've seen him run in touchdowns. He can get points on the board, which is wonderful. And my other player to watch, I don't know. Don't ask me why, but I had an incredible inkling about Daniel Bellinger in this game. I just really feel like we have not really been seeing a lot of him. He has not scored a touchdown yet this year. He's someone that just in general I love to watch, but I had this feeling this morning that Daniel Bellinger is going to be somebody to keep an eye out on this game. And I think that he's going to be a huge factor and he's going to be somebody that I'm going to be watching.
Bellinger led the Giants in receiving yards last week with 34.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, best of the worst, right? I mean, he's a good player. He was a day 3 pick that Joe Shane crushed last year. That's why I'm saying, like, you got to give these managers and these coaches time. You really do. John Rankin with a comment. Has been the roughest season ever for this podcast? Question mark. I believe so. I'm sorry this season has been the most painful for you two amazing human beings.
Oh.
If you remember, he was the Steelers guest on Andy's draft show a couple years ago.
Yes.
Before your brother came on, I think. So Rankin's a good guy. Shout out to Tight Spot. Go check him out on Twitch. He does a lot of great work over there. Hope Vegas is going well for you, buddy. All right. So Tudo says hello.
Hi, Tudo.
For me, love Tudo. Keeps us energized during a bad season. I'm going with Kayvon Thibodeau and Deontay Banks, both defense here. I think Thibodeau has a really good matchup against Leno and Cosme. He did really well against Cosme in week 7, and Deontay Banks going up against Terry McLaurin. I think he will contain him. To Sam's point, I think Dotson will outgain McLaurin in yards in this game. I do. So look out for Deontay Banks on Sunday. And my honorable mention is Jalen Hyatt. Get him the ball, please.
Please. And we know he can. We know Tommy DeVito can get him the ball. Make that connection happen.
Yeah, it's really, really tough. Injuries. Well, there's a lot. Hyatt did not practice today with a concussion, so I hope he plays. Adori's out. I don't expect him to play with a concussion as well. Evan Neal did not practice. Bobby Okereke with the hip. Kayvon has a concussion. A lot of guys are limited too. Wandale and Banks specifically. I'm sure all the limited guys will play. But I'm most concerned about Thibodeau and Hyatt out of the guys that are hurt. I think Okereke will be fine. But the concussion protocol, Sam, the NFL's been a lot more strict about it after what happened with Tua last year.
Yep.
I hate to put one player on a pedestal there, but since those concussions, I feel like the NFL has done a much more stricter job of managing when these guys can come out of protocol. And there's only one player that's exited concussion protocol within a week that hasn't had to miss at least one game since the Tua injury, and that was Brock Purdy a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I hope Thibodeau makes it. I hope Hyatt makes it, but I don't know if they will. And
Yeah.
that is concerning.
I mean, I get it. I understand why they are more strict with this protocol, but yeah, we'll see what happens. I guess there's also like varying intensities of concussions as well. Like, you could have a very intense concussion or you could have a micro concussion. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But those are two people that we really need to see on the field.
Cousins was another before he got hurt. I don't remember this one, John, but all ears. Let's get into our game predictions. So, Sam, we'll start with you. Who's winning and final score?
Yeah. So I actually, when I popped my final score into our little doc, I did not see your final score ahead of time. And so I think we have very similar score predictions. Mine is 24-17 Washington. I think that, again, division games are usually split in the NFC East. Washington lost to us last time. We're going to be in their, in their territory. I'm just we're having a tough ride, and I think that the Commanders are gonna hand us another loss.
Yeah. I'm also going 23-17. Well, not also, but your original thought was probably my score, which, I mean, that's okay if we duplicate final scores. Great minds think alike.
That's true.
Tudo gives Giants a 17-10 win.
Hey, at least somebody out here is giving the Giants a win. I appreciate that, Tudo.
I do as well. 23-17 Washington. We split the season series. Giants fall to 2-9, remain in the number 2 spot for NFL draft pick, going into a potential 2-9 versus, I don't know, I think New England has a bye this week. Yeah, that's right. 2-9 versus 2-8 against the Patriots next week off their bye. So that should be interesting to watch. Appreciate all the comments. We love all our fans, all our support. Sam, any parting words here before we do our plugs and sign off?
Mrs. DeVito, feed Tommy well this week. We need him. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Tommy DeVito needs to play well on Sunday for the Giants to have a chance. All right, folks. If you have not checked us out yet, make sure you do on all of our platforms. Social media is there below. Oh, I got to shout out the boss, Brian McCardle, saying, great show, guys. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate you.
Thanks,
I'll see you in a little bit. Don't fire me, please. Tudo says good night. Rankin says good night. Love you all.
Thank you, sir.
All right. On behalf of Sam Cardona, I am Tom Scavetta, wishing you all a lovely evening. Enjoy some football, good football. Hoping for the best, but if not, we will see you all next week. Without further ado, let's go Big Blue.